BC falls behind, comes back, falls behind again, comes back. It's the same story, the same issues with BC that we've seen all year.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I'm your host, AJ Black of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network. I've been covering Boston College for over a decade. If you're looking for BC news, analysis, and details on your Eagles, you are in the right place. Locked On Boston College is a free daily Boston College podcast available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. On today's show, the final road game of the season, BC goes to Virginia Tech and loses by 9. It's the same story of every game where BC falls behind early. We'll get into everything. We'll talk about what happened. So BC goes to Virginia Tech. They had a series lead against the Hokies. And honestly, I believe Earl Grant has kind of owned Mike Young through most of their tenures at both of the schools. Now, for both schools heading into this, there was definite goals that they're trying to reach. For Virginia Tech, they're the last four out on Joe Lunardi's bracketology. For BC, it's just to make it into the ACC tournament, which makes me want to cry. But in this game, you had, both teams needing a big win here to further themselves along, right? So BC comes out completely flat out of the gate, like something we've seen over and over again. Virginia Tech had a 14-4 run on this. They were just all over BC. And it was Nicolas Avaldalis who really kind of looked really strong at first, really outscoring BC. But again, say what you will about Earl Grant's teams. They're miserable to watch. They are inconsistent. They don't do anything great. His teams never quit. His teams will battle back unless they're playing an elite team, they will battle back all the time. And they did again in this game. And they just chipped away and chipped away and chipped away to the point where, they fell behind, I think, as much as almost 20 points at one point. To get to halftime, it's down to basically 10. Out of halftime, they're still chipping away and chipping away. They get it down to 6. And you're like, wow. You're seeing Boden Kapke. It was basically the Boden Kapke and Fred Payne game, because like the two of them were just incredible. Kapke ended up with 25 points. Payne was 16, but they weren't getting much help elsewhere. But it was the same issues you always see, right? They go on these runs, and then their defense just can't hold on. And they miss a few shots, and the defense just gives up points, and then it's over. So BC, it happened a couple more times in the second half where you get a couple big shots. They're Aiden Shaw had his big dunk like he has in every game, like his one big dunk. But that was it. Virginia Tech always had an answer. They always had an answer in this game. And while BC never fell behind enough to just be completely out of it, Virginia Tech just kept, they continued to make sure that this win was going to happen. And they ended up with the win. So the best game, Boden Kapke looked great in this game. And I was just thinking after this, if Earl Grant goes, to me, the two players you have to keep are Kapke and Payne. Like, there's other players there, like Luka Taves. I feel like he's getting there, but he's gonna be a junior next year, and I'm not sure what more you can build off of him. Donald Hands, he was 1 for 7 in this game. Like, I know he's hurt and he's coming back from an injury, but like, same thing with Jaden Hastings. Like, do you need to have these two guys? I don't think you do. So now where things land. With this loss, if BC were to well, first of all, if you're a betting man, you win if you bet on BC because BC covered. Yay, moral victory. But overall, this doesn't help your ACC tournament Kansas. Now, if Notre Dame beats, I think they're playing Stanford tomorrow. And I'm going to pull it up right now. For the next 24 hours, basically, the scheduling gods are not on your favor, because you can still get into the ACC tournament if you win on Saturday, but you need Notre Dame and Pitt to both lose on Wednesday. And so you have, as I just said, you have Notre Dame against Stanford at Indiana. I mean, that's in Indiana, in South Bend. And Pitt against Florida State in Pitt. So there's a chance both of those teams could win. I think if Pitt wins, that's it. I think that's it. Pulling up the standings right now. Yeah, if Pitt wins, it's over. So you got to hope that Pitt loses to Florida State. Florida State is 8-8 in the conference, but you never know, right? But this loss also, if you're in the, I feel like there's people out there that are just like, I don't want them to make the ACC tournament because I want BC to get that this is not acceptable, right? Like you want, you never want your team to lose, but there's a part of some people out there that are just thinking, I imagine at this point, like Earl Grant's not the right answer. If they make the tournament and Blake James turns around and says, well, we made the ACC tournament and we're going to keep him, then you lose everything. So the losses continue to pile up. They are not in the ACC tournament yet, and they really need some, balls to fall in the right area for them to do that. But in all, like, again, this game just every game for BC feels the same way. That's why I don't do a postcast show on every game, because it's the same problems all the time. Like, everything is inconsistent with BC. They don't ever consistently do anything right. The second half, tonight, BC's offense, I think they hit 7 in a row to start that off. And then they fall apart for 5 minutes. And then they can't, the defense can't make a stop. And then the offense then struggles again. And it's just like, you feel like it's Groundhog's Day. And, just some final thoughts in just a moment.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated St. John's 85-49 on Sunday at Madison Square Garden, extending its winning streak to 47 games. The Huskies capped a perfect 31-0 regular season, including 20-0 in the Big East. UConn is winning by nearly 38 points per game, the third largest average margin in Division I history. Since 1999 to 2000, UConn has 9 undefeated regular seasons, as many as all other programs combined, and has turned 6 of those into national championships. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get every dollar you deserve, while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person and walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment. The biggest stretch of the basketball season is here. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day, except for Boston College fans. But hey, if you want to get out there and watch actual good basketball, there's bucket list stuff out there that you can get in. And with Game Time, they'll get you hooked up. They give the fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets. With their seat view feature, it's a game changer. You can see a panoramic view from your seat before you buy. I love being able to follow teams in the app and get alerts when new deals drop. Constantly getting them. For BC stuff, for Patriots, it's all on my app. I love getting to know so that if I want to get a ticket and get a good deal, Game Time's going to get me hooked up. So download the Game Time app. Create an account and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Term supply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. On Boston College, wrapping up the 20th loss for BC basketball. Again, like this season is just one of many that has just felt completely lost. And they're all feeling that way since Al Skinner left. Between Jim Christian, Steve Donahue, and Earl Grant, BC basketball hasn't been relevant in years. And I don't know how this changes. I don't know how you get this back going. But I know one thing, Grant's not the answer. They need to make some changes, both with personnel and how the school financially supports this program. BC basketball should not be as bad as it is. And I don't want to say they were bad tonight. They weren't bad. They just don't do enough to win. And the lack of winning is never going to make BC relevant, which we saw again on Tuesday night. Thank you all for following along. You can follow me on Twitter at AJBlack247. On tomorrow's show, we're going to have Mitch Wolf on to talk about the NFL Combine. We'll have more discussions on our show. Make sure you check that out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you again soon for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.